Turning a worm into a turtle. Exactly. That kind of stuff. One of my favorite ones is from Campaign 2. What if you disagree with the DM? A good DM will listen to the player. If you disagree with a ruling, you can say, usually good etiquette indicates at the table you say things like, hey, I don't understand why it's this way. Shouldn't this have worked? And if they say no, blah 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 blah, then it is to okay, accept it and move on. And then if it's still something that bothers you, yeah, bring it up to them afterwards. It's not against the rules to like, it's against the, generally speaking, it's bad etiquette to argue with the dungeon master. It's not bad etiquette to question the dungeon master or maybe point out something they overlooked or made a mistake. Everyone does that. But if you point out something and the dungeon master says, no, this is the way it's going to be, then you just say, okay, and go about your way. You may not like it, but, you know, you can bring that up to them after the game and be like, hey man, I didn't think that was fair. You know, same kind of stuff you would do in a meeting with your boss, you know, at work. You point out something that you don't like, and then if they don't immediately agree, like, you know what, you're right, that is kind of a mistake, then you just bring it up later. Oh yeah, definitely. There are power trip DMs, absolutely. Oh, I always hate when that happens. You fight against a log, and right as you decide to give up and back up, it sinks. Those are bad DMs, power trip DMs. Those are the DMs that you politely tell afterwards, I don't think I can be part of this group, and you just leave. Never play with them again. And eventually they'll get to the point where they don't have anybody that plays with them. And then they'll learn that they're a bad DM. Like, you can bring it up to them and try to, like, be, hey, this isn't fair, this isn't fun, blah, blah, blah. And if they're like, tough shit, then, you know, you just move on. I know that's not how humanity works. It's full of Karens. Yeah, but Karens don't have friends. That's the thing. Karens' only friends are other Karens. Just because there is a Karen doesn't mean you need to be friendly with them. My favorite... I don't understand your question, Two Talent. So your favorite was in Champion... I'm assuming you mean Campaign. Oh, yeah. When they screwed over the DM. I know what you're talking about. My favorite one was when they were on a boat and Matt was going to have them get attacked by another boat. And he had all this stuff laid out of, like, ship-to-ship combat and how the cannons on the ship was going to work and how this and that was going to work. And they obviously, he didn't go to the table with like, hey everybody, we're doing ship combat tonight. He was just like, he was having this other ship come up that was obviously a problem, and all they did was they used some of their abilities to push the ship into a bunch of rocks and scuttle the ship before it got to them. And then Matt was just like, well, there goes all that paperwork I printed out. He was like, I'm pissed that they fucked up all my plans, but I'm also very happy that they thought of a really smart way to do it. He was really proud of them, but he was also kind of upset because he was like, I had all this shit planned out. It was going to be great. What the hell is that? Oh, it just had me in a weird position. Why is the name Matt Mercer familiar? I mean, he's a very prolific voice actor. He does anime and video games. He was also in a few movies. Yeah, no movies that anyone would know. Like, I love Matt Mercer as much as the next guy. Matt Mercer was not in any, like, well-known movies. Either that or he wasn't playing a character in those movies that anybody would be familiar with. They'd be like, oh yeah, he was in Batman vs. Robin or whatever, and you'd be like, who was he? He was the guy in the background over in this one scene. And you're like, well, it's not important. Matt Mercer is not known for being an actor. He is known for being a voice actor. Yeah, he was in Monster Hunter. He's in WoW. He's in Overwatch. He's in countless other games that I can't immediately think of. I don't know if you watched Attack on Titan, but he's one of the main characters in Attack on Titan. The anime. He's in countless other animes that I can't think of at the moment. Huh. Okay. Prototype? I've never actually played Prototype, I don't think. I'm assuming you mean, are there any races that are usually taboo? There are races that are generally considered, like, problematic to storylines, but not really anything that's taboo, per se. Class, no. Not unless you get, like, into really niche subclasses. But there are a couple of races that can be problematic to play sometimes, like dark elves and tieflings can be difficult. But most DMs can work around those. Where the heck am I going? Nope. Are there any lost deliveries en route? Or special cargoes? No. Not really. You can be an evil character? Sure, I was. Initially. You just need to make sure that the dungeon master is okay with it. As long as the dungeon master's okay with it, you can play anything you want. Those are generally considered NPCs at that point, Courtney. But sure. That all depends on the dungeon master and the story. Yeah, Campaign 2 has a character they meet like that. You're a lone guy, one part of the map, and there's a party with 3 others on the other, but they have 2 separate storylines. That happens, but that's really rare just because it's complicated and difficult for the dungeon master. Because the dungeon master has to have multiple ongoing stories But I mean, sure, it could happen. Usually that's just a one session kind of thing to be like, hey, are you going to join this group? Okay, well then this other group's got to be... I can have a story, like 2 hours of playtime that's just you in this place, in this dungeon, or in this forest, or someplace. And then afterwards you're going to meet up with those guys and join their group, or whatever. But like running 2 separate campaigns with 2 different parties in the same world at the same time, that's, I mean, I'm sure it's happened. But for most people, they're not going to do that. That's too complicated. No, D&D can take years to finish. But you're talking about having one person design multiple games and have them running simultaneously without interfering with each other. It's not an easy thing to do. Because you have to imagine, a D&D session can take... Most D&D sessions on average are about 3 hours for most people. So you want one person to have multiple 3-hour sessions with different groups about the same story without interacting with each other and without crossing storylines until they want to. And most DMs have real-life jobs and stuff like that. They're not going to do that. Now, if you want that done once, to be like, I want to introduce my character to this group and join them, but I'd like to have like 3 hours of storyline to myself prior, they'll do that. Most DMs will do that. But if you're talking like, I want like half of an entire campaign to myself before I even meet up with this other group, and they already have half of their whole campaign together, that's... most people are not going to do that. What's going on, Meme King? Nada, just hauling stuff around. Talking about D&D. Being a nerd. As you do. You hope you're asking the right types of questions. I want to make sure I understand what you're looking for, is the only thing. Like... I may not be fully understanding your question, Courtney. I hope I've answered it. But like, for example, at the beginning of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, he had a session that was not streamed with 2 of the characters because they hung out together. He just had a session that wasn't necessarily like doing anything. It was just like, what have you guys been doing? Because your two characters have been hanging out for like a year together, so what do you guys want to say you've been doing? And I can make sure that like I work it in properly. Cappy. How do you know which die to use? The game specifically tells you. So, like, in your damage, it'll say, your sword will say, I do 1d6 damage, or 2d8. So 1d6 is one dice that has 6 sides. 2d8 is 2 dice. Each of them have 8 sides. 2d8. But your equipment will specifically tell you what it wants. Otherwise, if it does not tell you, it's a D20. If it's like roll initiative, D20. Roll to attack, D20. Make a intelligence saving throw, D20. Roll deception, D20. Roll for initiative, D20. Literally, if they don't tell you what dice it is, it's 20 sides. That's it. Otherwise, they tell you exactly what dice it is. The only other thing to keep in mind that threw me through a loop when I first started watching it was advantage and disadvantage. So if you roll with advantage, you roll 2 D20s and you take the higher number. And if you roll at disadvantage, you roll 2 D20s and take the lower number. That's it. It just means you're giving yourself double the chance to succeed or double the chance to fail, depending on advantage or disadvantage. What does the natural 20 joke mean? You'll have to tell me what joke you're talking about. That's not a joke, that's a real thing. A natural 20 is when you roll a d20 and it lands on 20. That's all it is. Same thing with a natural 1, just you land on a 1 instead of that. I'm by joke, I guess you mean like, LOL, I did it. It's just, it's so uncommon. It's also very disheartening when somebody tells you roll with disadvantage, and which means you roll 2 d20s and you take the lower one, and your first roll is a natural 20, because that means that you're probably going to take that second one because it's definitely going to be lower than the first. And then you become a god gamer when you roll at disadvantage and you roll 2 natural 20s. Does it have to be a d20? It does. If it's not a d20, it'll tell you 2 d10. And that's different. Because you have to keep in mind, a d20 can land anywhere between 1 and 20. 2d10 is between 2 and 20. You cannot get a 1 on 2d10. It's impossible. You thought a natural 20 meant you were good at getting 20s? I mean, you're good for getting the 20, but Nobody's good at getting natural 20s, no. Some people are lucky as shit is what they are. But like you're rolling a dice. It's the likelihood of you getting any number on the dice is the same. Yeah, there are lucky dice, but usually the DM will take that away, like they did in with Taliesin in Campaign 1. He kept rolling too many 20s, and finally Matt Mercer was like, give me that. I'm going to take that dice away. You can't use this one anymore. There's this whole science around balancing your dice, making sure that they're properly balanced so that you have the same exact chance to roll a 20 as you do a 10, as you do a 1. And some dice just aren't. You just watched the clip where Travis's wife called him in the middle of the game? Yeah. Because she was homesick, I think. She was pregnant. And he was playing her character, and he did something wrong. And she called him while he was playing and was all like, nope. This is what you do. Oh, you think it was after she gave birth? Maybe. It might be easier to come at it from this way. And then go back. And we'll go the long way around. Yeah, she didn't like what Travis did, so she called him and was like, no! Undo it! This is what I want! And I thought it was funny, Matt was all like, you didn't know he was married to Laura? Yeah, Travis is married to Laura. Matt Mercer, the Dungeon Master, he's married to Marisha. So 2 of them are married couples. And Sam just drinks out of weird shit? That's correct. Isn't it hard? Like out of shoes? No. In Campaign 1, he drinks out of an enormous beer stein made out of a hotel ice bucket. Campaign 2, he drinks out of the largest flask that he could find on Amazon, which was like 2 feet by 3 feet. And in Campaign 3, he's drinking out of a like 10-gallon jerry can. Say that again?
Jerry can. I've never heard
Yeah, yeah, those gas cans that are like rectangular shaped and flat. Those are jerry. Yeah.
Teach me stuff.
Well, you're welcome. It's a jerry can. Yeah, it goes with his characters. All his characters are very small. So his first character was a gnome. His second character was a halfling. No, a goblin. Sorry. And his third character is a robot, essentially. He did have one full-size character, and that person did not drink out of anything strange. I don't think he drank at all. You guess that's his shtick? That's one of his shticks, yeah. Yeah, when he pulled out that jerry can to drink out of, Matt was just like, oh my god.
It looks great, though.
It does, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a really good job. Sam is not... Like, it's all jokes and fun and games for him, but it's also serious. It's serious jokes. He takes his joking and goofing off very seriously. Which is great, because it's always high production quality. Now I'm sitting here struggling while Lucid's laughing at me. He's like, lol, look at this nerd, doesn't know how to back up a trailer. Let's watch him struggle, LOLOL. Shut up, Lucid, I'm trying. Now he's over here like, bro, I didn't say anything. You would never laugh at me? What if I wanted you to laugh at me? What if I'm telling you a joke? Would you still not laugh at me? How could you do that, Lucid? I thought we were friends. Oh. Alright. My crane is obviously not going to reach that, so... Here we go, here we go. Back it up. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah, just push that container out of the way. Sick, sick. Okay, this might work. Why won't you raise? That's lower. I want you to raise. Okay. It was just too far away, that's all. I didn't have the strength. Okay. Hey! Alright, cool. So, there's that. Herc! Herc! Difflock! Difflock when? Alright, that's cool. We made it anyway. I love you too, Lucid. I know that's what you were actually trying to say there. but I'm married. And I know you have a girlfriend, so I think we're gonna have to pass it by them first before we make our love known to the world.
I'm good.
Cappy says she's good, so now it's just up to you, man. You got to convince your lady. Cappy just wants to hear your laugh.
Yes.
It would be fun to have a D&D wedding. There are D&D weddings. Are you talking real life, or are you talking to have a wedding in a D&D campaign? Because both exist. Just I'm just not sure which way you're going with that. There are players who get their characters married, and there are players who get married themselves and have a D&D themed wedding. You have a husband in one of your campaigns? Yeah, but you're just a slut. She's a slut for romance, though.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. You also prefer Garrus, which is just gross. Lucid also loves Garrus. Get Lucid to come back. Nah, man. Fuck that bug man. You're still in that honeymoon phase? Cappy and I have been married for, looks at the picture in front of him, almost 17 years. We're still technically in our honeymoon phase. How long have I been here in the game? I've been playing for almost 3 hours, but I've been here for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. Each zone's going to take like a week or two. These last couple are a little smaller, so they won't take quite as long, but plus I have better machinery, so it's not quite as difficult to accomplish the jobs. Unless you meant something else, and then I'm sorry. Elaborate a little bit, and I'll answer your question. Alright, so there's that. Man, I've been doing a lot of talking today. Explore the abandoned ship. Have I gotten into a fight over D&D with anybody? Not really. I may have gotten into heated conversations regarding D&D, but I don't think I've ever gotten into an actual fight. No. Why does Cappy not play in VG Bits D&D?
I don't want to.
Cappy said, no.
I'm not ready to play yet.
Cappy's self-confidence in D&D is pretty low. Her skill is surprisingly high. Her just self-confidence in her skill is really low. Cause like we were watching Campaign 2, and like maybe halfway through Campaign 2, she just started saying what players should do in combat, like 30 seconds before they would come up and they'd be like, what do you want to do? And he'd be like, I want to do this. And Cappy would be like, I do it! And I'm like, see, you can play. And she's like, no. There was one fight where Taliesin, in Campaign 2, where Taliesin was going to do, the Beatles.
Spiritual Guardian?
Spiritual Guardian. Gosh, see, she knows the spell and I don't. And I have a character who can cast the spell. There was a situation where she was like, man, Taliesin should really cast Spiritual Guardians right here. That would really help this combat. And then the next round for Taliesin came around and he was all like, I'm going to cast Spiritual Guardians. And she's like, aha! She's so proud of herself. And she's made like really good combat decisions. Because as we're watching Critical Role or whatever, she'll be like this and that and this. And I'll be like, yeah. Or maybe I'll point out, actually, no, that's a bad decision because of this. And she'll go, oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
I'll just start crying.
And then I usually slap her.
Yeah, I mean,
See, Cappy, this is what you get when you don't get every D&D situation correct.
it needs to be done.
Smack. I would just like to say I have never once struck my wife.
No, he does it lots of times. See, that's the trick. Not just once.
Shut up! You're going to get me in trouble. And then I go to the store and she calls me out. Yeah, dude. The only time I have accidentally hit my wife is when I was asleep when I did it. And I was adjusting in bed and accidentally headbutted her in the face and gave her a black eye. And man, did I feel like garbage for days. Yeah, these gas cans on the back of my roof rack. Those are jerry cans. Yeah, all right. trunk, roof rack. I guess I can't use the repair supplies from that thing. Wait, does that thing have fuel? Apparently not. Weird. Alright, whatevs. Maybe I can't use it unless it's connected. That doesn't sound right. Because you should be able to repair trucks that aren't connected to yours when you're hauling that. Whatevs. But yeah, definitely watch Campaign 2. Campaign 2 is some high quality D&D action. Soon he's going to run out of things to drink that are ridiculously large and turn to ludicrously small. I honestly thought he was going to do something like that this time. I was hoping he was going to play like... All his characters have been very small stature characters, and I was kind of hoping he was going to play an extremely large character this time. And he didn't. He played a small one. Everyone's gonna watch Critical Role after I get off. That's a personal statement, Courtney. I'm married. I'm not gonna tell you when I get off. That being said, I really hope episode 1's views go up a lot. It'll be awesome. All right. So there's that mission. Now we have his cousin Cletus with the oil barrels. I think what I should do... What is this? That's a standard sideboard trailer. This is also a standard sideboard. Sideboard semi, that's connected to my truck. A sideboard trailer. That's just the one that I pull behind myself, I think. Those oil barrels won't be difficult to get. Those will. Yeah, sorry, I was... Probably should have been specific. I was being facetious. I am not actually offended. Alright, let's truck this trailer out of here, shall we? Because I won't need this trailer over here anymore. So you guys ready for Friday? Just for some clarification, Cappy's Cyberpunk playthrough will most likely not be every day until it's done. Because there will be days where Cappy just does not feel like playing because she has a migraine or something. And on those days, I will still stream, I just won't play Cyberpunk. So I don't want people's hopes to be like, we're getting Cyberpunk until it's done. I pretty much guarantee that's not going to happen. But every day Cappy feels like playing, that's what we'll play. I'm not sure what I'll stream on those days. It'll probably vary from time to time. There'll probably be days where Cappy's like, I don't want to stream today. And I'll be like, okay, let's play Euro Truck or SnowRunner, or maybe I'll start another game. I don't know if I'll do Breath Edge on those days, because I think Breath Edge is going to be one of those games that once I start playing it, I'm going to want to play it almost all the time. So I may wait until after Cyberpunk for Breath Edge, but we'll see.
Is that the one that she bought for you?
Yeah, that's the sci-fi sub...
Oh, yeah.
That's the space Subnautica one.
You should probably wait, because I want to watch that, and if I have a migraine, it's hard for me to watch it later.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking too, is I was like, if Cappy wants to watch it, and Cappy's got a migraine, she won't watch it, and then she'll feel left out. So I'll probably play... I want to play Turing Test. That one's relatively short, I think. That one's only like 10 or 12 hours, I want to say. So that one could be done in like 3 or 4 streams. So over like a month, I'll probably be able to knock that one out while we're playing Cyberpunk. There may also be, depending on how Cappy feels and all, there may also be like a Saturday or a Sunday where Cappy's like, I want to play Cyberpunk for like 5 hours today instead of 3. And we'll start early or something, but... Obviously, if that happens, we'll let you guys know ahead. We'll try to let you guys know ahead of time. Be like, we're starting early today. I also want to try to set up a day at some point. It's hard because I need to schedule with like multiple people. But I want to try to set up another time to play Witchet. With like Drillian and Lucid and Creed. I'm gonna see if I can get this trailer right here. Hello? Where's that trailer? No, Witch-It. Sorry. That was that hide-and-seek game we played that one time. What about Fall Guys? I'm not really interested in Fall Guys myself. Make these really wide turns here. Oh, oh man. That was close. That was fun to watch. Yeah, it was a blast to play too, which is why I want to try to eventually set up another day for that. Even if we can only get like 3 of us together, like if it's like Lucid, me, and Drillian, and like Creed can't make it or something, maybe we'll do that and see if somebody else wants to play. Because I think it's 4 players max. But we'll figure something out. You might ditch me to watch Critical Role? Well, there's a reason I don't stream on Thursday nights. That being said, I'm actually going to be stopping in like a minute or 2. So if you just give me a couple minutes, I'll be done. Then you don't have to ditch me. I'm gonna sell these 2 trailers real quick and then I'm probably gonna stop for the night. I'm ditching you first. Eh. It's not you, Courtney, it's me. There we go. Sold all those trailers. Now let's buy a gas trailer. Refuel. All right, and I think we'll go ahead and call it there for tonight, everybody.